The observation deck of the Galactic Fauna Preservation Station buzzed with controlled chaos. Medical officers from 6 different species rushed past the reinforced glass viewport, their varied chitinous, scaled, and feathered forms moving with practiced urgency. Inside the containment cell, a small creature no larger than a Terran house cat wreaked absolute havoc. Turn, as the intake coordinator had named him, was a Vescarian cub, one of the last 12 of his kind after their homeworld's sudden atmospheric collapse. The rescue operation had been a triumph of interstellar cooperation. The survival of the species, however, was proving far more complicated. Third handler this cycle, Dr. Kelnix muttered, his insectoid mandibles clicking in distress as another veterinary specialist backed away from the containment field, nursing a bleeding appendage. The cub won't accept sedation, won't accept feeding, and certainly won't accept touch. Captain Vrace, the station's Corvati administrator, folded her forearms across her chest. We cannot allow the last Vescarian juvenile to starve himself from trauma. Surely your staff has protocols? Protocols assume a creature that wants to live, Kelnix interrupted, his compound eyes reflecting the harsh medical lights. This one has decided the universe is hostile, and given what he's experienced, can we blame him? Through the viewport, Turn huddled in the far corner of his habitat, a ball of silver-black fur with too many teeth for his small frame. His species had evolved as ambush predators on a world of eternal twilight, and those instincts screamed at him that everything beyond his corner was a threat. Every approaching figure, every outstretched appendage, every soothing vocalization, all were lies preceding pain. He had bitten them all. The Chlorian herbivore specialist had 6 puncture marks across her branch-like fingers. The synthetic medic had required complete hand replacement. Even the usually unflappable Wetherian handler, whose species communicated, through pheromones meant to calm any animal, had retreated after Turn's teeth found purchase on his trunk-like sensory organ. Perhaps, Captain Vrace suggested carefully, we should contact the human delegation. Kelnix's antennae twitched skeptically. The humans? Captain, with all respect to their recent admission to the Council, they're hardly renowned for xenobiological expertise. Their own planet still has species they haven't catalogued. No, Vrace said quietly, watching Turn through the glass. But they have something we don't. They have patience born from being prey that became predator. They understand fear. Mira arrived 2 standard hours later, wearing the simple gray jumpsuit of a civilian volunteer. She was young even by human standards, barely 20 cycles, with dark hair pulled back in a practical tail and eyes that held the kind of steadiness that came from growing up on colony worlds where patience meant survival. She studied the reports on her datapad, then looked through the viewport at Turn. The cub stared back with eyes too old for his young body, golden irises reflecting a universe that had betrayed him. I'll need the containment field lowered, Mira said. Every alien in the room turned to stare at her. Absolutely not, Kelnix stated. He's injured 7 trained professionals. You're an unaugmented human civilian. Mira's expression didn't change. Yes, which means I'm no threat to him. Everything he's encountered here has been bigger, stronger, or stranger than him. She shrugged. I'm just going to sit there. For how long? Captain Vrace asked. As long as it takes. The Corvati captain studied the human for a long moment, then gestured to the technician. Lower the field. Medical team on standby. Mira entered the habitat with nothing but a thin cushion to sit on. She placed it 3 meters from Turn's corner and settled into a cross-legged position. Then she simply waited. Turn's lips peeled back, revealing those needle-sharp teeth. A low growl emanated from his small chest. Mira didn't move, didn't speak, barely seemed to breathe. The first hour passed. Outside the viewport, the staff changed shifts. Inside, nothing changed. Mira sat. Turn growled intermittently, watching this strange new creature that didn't approach, didn't demand, didn't threaten. The second hour brought a subtle shift. Turn's growls became less frequent. His posture, while still defensive, lost some of its rigid tension. Mira remained perfectly still, her breathing slow and even, her eyes half closed in a way that wasn't quite sleep, but wasn't quite alertness either. By the third hour, Dr. Kelnix had to admit he was witnessing something unprecedented. "She's doing nothing," he whispered to Captain Vrace. "Literally nothing. How is this working?" "She's doing everything," Vrace corrected softly. "She's proving she won't hurt him. That's not nothing to a creature that's lost everything." The fourth hour arrived with a breakthrough so subtle the monitoring equipment almost missed it. Tern stood. His legs, cramped from hours of defensive cowering, trembled as he took one cautious step forward, then another. Mira's breathing never changed. Tern approached slowly, his body language screaming conflicted instincts. 10 years of evolution told him to attack first, ask questions never. But something about this creature's absolute stillness, her refusal to be a threat, spoke to a deeper instinct, the one that remembered being a cub in his mother's den, warm and safe. He circled her once, twice, 3 times. Mira tracked him only with her eyes, her head never turning. When Tern finally sat just beyond arm's reach, she simply closed her eyes completely. The message was clear. "I won't even look at you if it frightens you." Another hour passed. Then, as the station's artificial night cycle began, Tern made his choice. He padded forward on silent paws and curled against Mira's leg, his small body fitting perfectly in the curve of her crossed legs. For the first time since the rescue, Tern slept. Mira opened her eyes slowly and allowed herself the smallest smile. She didn't move to touch him, didn't shift position, didn't celebrate. She simply sat there as his guardian, as his proof that the universe could still offer safety. Outside the viewport, Captain Vrace turned to Dr. Kelnix. "Still think the humans lack xenobiological expertise?" The insectoid doctor's mandibles clicked in what might have been his species' equivalent of a thoughtful hum. "Perhaps," he admitted. "We've been defining expertise too narrowly. The humans don't just study survival. They've mastered it. And sometimes mastery looks like a young woman sitting perfectly still until a broken creature remembers how to trust." As the station's lights dimmed further, Mira finally allowed herself to rest one hand very gently on Tern's sleeping form. The cub didn't wake, didn't bite, didn't flee. He simply slept on, dreaming perhaps of a home that no longer existed, but guarded by a patient human who proved that sometimes the greatest strength was knowing when to do absolutely nothing at all.